Hello, Charter Oak families. Welcome to our virtual information meeting. My name is Jeff Jordan. I'm the superintendent of Charter Oak Unified, and just want to thank you for taking the time to watch our video. Knowing that we are in a very unusual circumstance right now, we thought it would be better to create something where you can listen to all the leaders of Charter Oak as opposed to reading a very long and lengthy email. So we know that this is definitely going to be a different year than what we are used to in most openings of our school years. However, our commitment is that we want to make this a memorable year. We want to make sure that our students have the best opportunity to truly learn in a virtual setting. We want to continue maintaining the health and the safety of our students as well as our employees. And that was really one of the reasons why we decided to do a virtual setting. And then ultimately, the governor and the Department of Public Health, they helped echo our thoughts and really mandated that all schools in LA County do open up in a virtual setting. So one of the questions that we get asked is, when will we be able to actually come back into a full-on in-person schedule? And as we've looked at that, we have three pieces of criteria that, if you will, that we are looking at in order to open up virtually. Number one is that we need to develop or finish developing and negotiate a final in-person schedule, what that will look like. The second thing is the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health. They have developed about a 13-page document that all schools K-12 in Los Angeles County need to adhere to in order to open up virtually. And I got to tell you, that's a very challenging document, but we are beginning as we speak to start looking and addressing all of those areas so that we can have that completed. The last thing that needs to happen is the governor has stated that if a county is on a 14-day watch list, then in order to reopen a K-12 school, you've got to come off of that 14-day watch list. And so when all three criteria are met, then we'll be ready to reopen where we can bring students into a in-person setting. We agree, we acknowledge, we know the best setting for students to learn is in a classroom with their teacher. But because we can't meet all three of those criteria at this time, then the next best setting is to make sure that our teachers are available to their students to be able to provide the best in-person instruction. And in this case, it's just going to be virtually. And so we're excited about that. A couple of things that we've done differently this year to get ready for the virtual setting is, number one, we have made the start date of school. We're moving it from Wednesday, August 12th to Friday, August 14th. Now you ask why. Why are we doing that? Well, our teachers do not officially come back to work until Monday, August 10th. We know that we're asking them to do something that is incredibly challenging for our students, but also incredibly challenging for our teachers and our staff. So we feel that by extending the school day by 2 more days, that will give 4 full days of teachers to attend their trainings, as well as to prep for instruction so that we give our students that best opportunity possible. And really the reality is those 4 days probably aren't even enough, but that's the best that we can adjust to at this point in getting ready for the first day of school on Friday, August 14th. So what will Friday, August 14th look like? Well, our school principals, they will be sharing along with the teachers what that will look like. It'll look a little bit different at each of the school sites, and they'll give you a more detailed exact schedule of what that day is going to entail. So purpose of the video today is really just to provide more information on the expectations of what virtual learning will look like. You're going to get a chance to hear from all of our school principals so that they can share a little bit about what it's going to look like at the elementary, and the middle, and the high school level. And to help do that today, we've invited our new Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Dr. Danny Kim, to help facilitate what that will look like, but also he's going to provide some more global pictures of out of educational services, what are the things that you can expect us to be able to provide? Before I turn it over to him, I just want to end with this part. As I mentioned, and we all agree, that this is going to be a really challenging opportunity for our students, but yet a doable opportunity. And we know that a TK and a K and a first grader are going to have different challenges than what a high school student's going to have. I want to make sure that all of us give each other a little grace. We give grace to what our teachers, our support staffs are going to go through. I want our teachers and our support staff to give grace to our students and to our parents of what you're trying to do. And I think that if we can approach this as a team, we go slow in how we do it, we keep open communication, we stay positive, and we use each other as a support system, I am completely confident that we're going to pull this off. And so that's the piece of grace that I'm hoping that we can all do. At this point, let me introduce Dr. Kim, who will cover some more global expectations. Dr. Kim, it's all yours.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan. Well, it is a pleasure to be here and be a part of our Charter Oak family. We're here to serve you and support you. And ultimately, we're here because we want to make sure our students are succeeding at high levels every single day. Our virtual learning plan and the school year for the 2020-21 year is going to be exciting. And though not ideal, we think it's going to be very promising and very enriching for our kids. Let me first start off by what you can expect with your students learning every single day. We are committed to providing daily live interaction with our students and their teachers on a daily basis. Now, what daily live interaction is going to look like is a little different for every kid in their respective grade level and with their respective teacher. But it will be a live interaction that's going to occur most likely in a Zoom platform. This could happen in whole class settings or small group settings, and it's going to be age appropriate. I have 3 school-age kids, and I probably don't want my first grader being on a Zoom call for 3 hours straight. So trust that our teachers are going to be working with your students and assigning appropriate amounts of screen time and allowing that daily live interaction to look something that's going to be well and appropriate for your kids. In terms of their school day and their learning, think about learning happening in 2 formats, both synchronous and in asynchronous fashions. Synchronous is what I refer to as daily live interaction. It's that virtual, real-time, scheduled times and appointments with your teachers and the students. Asynchronous learning is the learning that happens, quote unquote, off real time. And learning is posted and assigned through what we typically see in a Google Classroom environment, or for younger grades, what you might see in the Seesaw environment. Asynchronous learning is offline, where the student isn't necessarily meeting with the teacher in real-time settings, but certainly has rigorous learning and content that is assigned through those platforms. In our learning and for virtual learning, attendance will be mandatory. This is not optional. Learning is not optional, and we're going to make sure that we are going to ensure success for your kids. So we need all the parents and students to play their part in making sure they're coming to school every single day throughout the school day, 8 o'clock through the 2:20 end hour. And again, schedules will be sent out and shared from our school principals to the homes for your students and their grade levels. Daily lessons were going to be presented. Instruction is going to happen on a daily basis. Students are going to be learning Monday through Friday, and grades will count. Obviously, grades that are appropriate for your grade level and your grade spans, but grades will count for virtual learning. Students should have received or will be receiving their devices and the resources they'll need to be successful for virtual learning. And again, we want to be able to be supported. So expect that during the course of virtual learning, we're going to have a real-time hotline for any type of information technology support. You can call during those hours, whether you're a parent or student, and so that whatever technology support that you need, we can be able to assist you. During the off hours, we're going to have a technology support voicemail so that early the next morning, our staff can receive those voicemails and reach out to families and students and parents and assist them in any way possible. We're here to make sure that we are going to be not only live and ready to go, but you have the support that you need to make sure technology is rolling successfully. Many of our support resources, hotline numbers, they will all be supported and hosted on our Charter Oak Unified School District website. We will share that communication once it is live, and that way parents and families, you guys have and know where you can contact for additional support. During the school day, we want you to also know that your students' social emotional support and learning is really critical and important for us. We are going to have academic and social emotional supports built in through the school day. Whether it's a school site support staff, whether it's the classroom teacher that's providing the academic support, there will be time built in so that your kid, should they need it, is going to have the intervention and academic support provided. We want to make sure that we also attend to the needs of the variety of students with individualized educational plans, as well as our English learners, our foster youth, and homeless students are provided their supports and necessary academic interventions so that they can be successful for virtual learning. So be on the lookout for information if you have a student that has those respective needs. We will make sure that we are providing and continue to provide daily breakfast and lunch for students through virtual learning. And again, we'll provide more information through our child nutrition office on how you might be able to pick up those meals for your students. And finally, as you know, we have so much more information that we are going to provide for you, and it'll happen through our school site principals. They are ready. Our schools have been preparing endlessly day and night to make sure that they are ready to go for our virtual learning and that they can answer all the questions that you might have for your respective school and their school site principal or their teachers. We look forward to the first day of school on August 14th. In the meantime, we are going to be continuing working day and night to make sure we give the very best experiences for our kids. Now, we're going to have a really fun activity, and we're going to turn our attention to our school principals and have a virtual roundtable to answer more specific questions about the elementary and secondary grades. At this time, we have the opportunity to have a virtual roundtable with our stupendous, fantastic, mighty elementary school principals here in Charter Oak Unified School District. We're excited that they can join us virtually, and we have some really important questions we'd like to ask of them and get some input as it relates to the opening of school and virtual learning. So, the first question I have, and perhaps Mr. Pinnell, you can respond to this question. What are the expectations that we have for students and parents for virtual learning?
Great, and it's great to be with everybody, and we do have a dynamic team. And thanks for that great introduction. I'm gonna take that with me all day long. Trust me. You know, what we're trying to do is really make sure that the school day for everyone is really meaningful. So we would encourage parents to have a really cool workspace for their kids, just like they would at school. We'll encourage that they have the proper materials ready for learning. After all, we're gonna really start at 8 o'clock and go through the day. That day will look a little bit different, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We'd like students to be, in school attire as much as possible, ready to learn with their materials with them. And, the learning is really going to be designed throughout the day. So we want you to, when you have a break, have a break. We want you to have your water bottle, with you at all times so you can have a swig of water. And then students, we're really excited about the learning that you're going to be doing. And you're going to be collaborating and talking to your peers and solving problems just like you would if we were with you in person. So we're really excited about what that looks like. And we have high hopes and high expectations for each student. And we're preparing for great futures for students and families in Charter Oak Unified School District.
Thank you, Mr. Pinnell. Anybody want to follow up with regards to maybe what some expectations might be for parents?
Sure, I will. So everyone, I would just encourage you to be really engaged with your student. Make sure that your student is there on time. So keep track of their schedule. You'll be looking for that on Google Classroom or Seesaw, depending on the teacher. So if you have any questions, contact your teacher regarding that. Make sure that they're on time. Make sure that you're aware of what they're working on and kind of engage with your student to make sure they're completing their assignment. If there's any question, again, make sure to keep in contact with your teacher to know where your student is with all of their work. And the teacher will help you to know what time to be there and what they need to get done each day. So that's the big thing, is just being there, being aware, and making sure they're on time for all of their learning.
Thank you, Ms. Creeves. The next question I have for our principals is, what will the school day schedule look like at your elementary sites? Ms. Sherrod, would you mind responding to that question?
Absolutely, I'll jump into that one. I think it's important to start here with, it's going to look very different than it did in the spring, where you might have had some Zooms in the spring here or there, once or twice a week. You're going to see that look a lot different as we go into this fall virtual learning. You're going to see, if you're in the TK or kindergarten realm, you're going to see your teachers doing some live interactions between 8 and 11. My first through sixth graders are going to be seeing their teachers between 8 and 12. And when I say that, what I mean is you're going to have scheduled times. Our teachers have jumped into this and they have some fabulous things planned to do live with students, and then to also push out for that synchronous versus asynchronous learning. So between 8 and 12, you might have a math meeting with the teacher, and they may have 20 kids in it, they may have 5 kids in it. It's going to look differently for every teacher, and that information will be coming to you in the next week, as we get ready to start school next week. But you're going to find that they'll have a couple of sessions a day with their teacher. They're going to be working on their own, so they might be doing their iReady minutes in the afternoon. They might be doing some science exploration through Mystery Science on their own. You're going to see just daily interactions with the teacher once to twice a day. And it's going to vary in minutes. So don't think they're going to be on the computer from 8 to 12 because I'm a second grade student, or 8 to 11 because I'm a TK student. The teachers are going to have schedules, and they're going to keep them pretty set from day to day so that you know what to expect as a parent, because that's a lot of pieces you're juggling. So just look for that. You will have workbooks that you didn't have in the past, so students will have assignments assigned to them through Google Classroom, as Mrs. Greaves was discussing. There will be things that you will be sending to them through the Google Classroom to grade. There will be things that they will do on their own and take a picture of to send to them with their Chromebooks that we're issuing. Overall, it's going to be a lot of interactions with the teacher that look differently than they did before. Just, you'll see the Zoom meetings, you'll see some small group sessions happening. Look for those pieces to come as we settle into the next week, but know that the teachers are working really hard to create a great program for you day in and day out.
Mrs. Sherrod, let me do a follow-up. So we're going to have lunch scheduled for everybody at the same time. What would after lunch look like for a student?
So that's going to be more of an asynchronous learning. The teachers are going to do their live sessions mainly in the morning. So if you're a parent trying to figure out your schedules for the fall and what the babysitter needs to pay attention to, or what pieces you need to, the main online learning with interactions with the teachers will be between the hours of 8 and 11 if you're a TK or K, 8 and 11 if you're one of our first through sixth graders. The afternoon is going to be those iReady minutes that we discussed. You will be working on some possible science or social studies pieces that they'll push out. You'll be doing your accelerated reader tests, your silent reading. That's going to be the asynchronous learning time block. Your teachers are still going to push it out, and then your teachers may be pulling you in for some interaction time at that time if they have a small group that they need to pull kids in for additional support. If parents are needing support, that's a great time that the teachers will be reaching out to them as well. So the afternoon is going to be more of the asynchronous learning at the elementary level, but there is the opportunity where the teacher might be pulling students in for some of that additional support. Did I miss anything in there, anybody? Okay.
No, that's great.
Thank you, Ms. Sherrod. Very thorough, and we're excited about the program ahead. Now, you had mentioned workbooks, and if I'm a student or parent, I'm thinking to myself, well, what about my textbooks? What about the other resources that we're going to need beyond just the Chromebook we received or other technology devices? So, Ms. Berry, can you share with us, when do you expect students to receive their instructional materials?
So here at the school sites, we've been working on putting together packages for the students. We want to make sure they have all the materials they need to be successful while doing virtual learning at home. So Definitely look out for an email or something from your school site with specific dates, times, and pickup procedures. But definitely towards the end of next week, all of us schools will be hosting some kind of pickup so that your students can come through, get their workbooks, their books, their other materials that they're going to need besides the Chromebook. So we're working hard at getting those put together for you guys so that you have them in time for school to start.
Thank you, Ms. Berry. And our sites have been very conscientious about both the community, our students and parents, along with employee safety. And so please be mindful of the procedures and the processes they're communicating. That way, we're ensuring everyone's safety and health is kept as a top priority. The next question I have, now speaking of instructional materials, also things like supplies. I know that the first day of school and kids may need certain supplies. What types of supplies will students need, and might you be able to give us some more information about that, Ms. Greaves?
Absolutely. So as you all know, I'll be sending lots of dojos out, as will a lot of our other principals here, with all kinds of information for you. And we will be scheduling some school supplies to be sent out. So along with your materials that you're going to pick up, you're also going to get a packet of school supplies, depending on your student's level. So the things they might need: pencil, a journal or something to write in, an eraser, scissors, crayons, glue. Now, for some of you, this has been a really tough time, and that's been on our hearts and in our minds, and we don't want you to feel burdened. We want school to be fun. We want it to be resourced. We want your student to have everything they need in order to complete all of their online learning, to complete their standards-based education for the school year. So whatever you don't have at home, if there's something that you're worried about that you aren't able to provide for your student, first of all, we think we'll have it in a packet. But if we've missed something, don't worry. Contact me, one of the other principals, or your student's teacher, and we'll make sure that you have what you need, because it's our first priority to keep your students safe and to give them everything they need for their online learning.
Thank you, Ms. Greaves. And finally, as we know, schools currently are closed, well, physically closed. We're always open, and we're excited about the virtual learning ahead. But in terms of school sites and their hours, and maybe perhaps questions around who I can contact if I have questions for the school, will school sites be open for parents, and what perhaps are their hours, and who do we contact? So Ms. Monroe, would you be able to answer that question for us?
Absolutely. So the Charter Oak family, we're here to support you. And so the offices will be open daily from 8 to 3. We do ask that you make an appointment whenever possible, so contact the office to do so. Also, we ask that you follow safety protocols, so masks, washing hands, taking temperatures at home before you do come onto campus. We're here to support you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Monroe. And it's been a pleasure having our elementary school principals join us here. They are in the front lines and excited along with their staffs and their teachers. And we look forward to having all of our students ready for the first day of learning on Friday, August 14th. And with that, we are going to go ahead and sign off with our elementary principals. Thank you. We have another opportunity for our second virtual roundtable with our incredible secondary principals here in Charter Oak Unified School District. We're excited to have them on board, and we have a few questions for our secondary principals. So I'll go ahead and get started. The first question, similar to our elementary folks, but what might our students and parents expect out of virtual learning, and what would their expectations be for virtual learning? Mr. Williams, would you mind sharing your thoughts around this?
Sure. Let me give a couple opportunities and maybe some examples. So student expectation. This is it. The students are going to be working at home. It's so tricky. It's so different. Obviously, you guys, everybody experienced it in the spring. But let's try to raise the expectation and first start off with engagement. So we really want the students to be engaged with the material. The teachers are going to be putting together a lot of the lessons. We're going to be working on Google Classroom. And so engagement's going to be a real key component, that they're engaged with the work, they're engaged with the direct instruction, they're engaged with the asynchronous and synchronous times during the scheduled day. So engagement's going to be really, really important. So if the parents and students really kind of focus in on that to stay attentive with the work that's being presented to them. They also, we expect, and it's always tricky, there's a lot of technology, but their own work needs to be turned in. Obviously, we want the parents to be involved in peers to help the students with their work, but whatever's being turned in needs to be their work. And so that's a high expectation, to have quality and efficiency and turning in their work on time. During the Zoom meetings, also a student expectation would be the visibility. We're asking them to put some sort of background to the house when they are in a Zoom, but they do need to be visible. We're finding that those students that are on screen, that have their eyes and their body language up, they're doing much better with the work. They're more highly engaged with the work. So we're really trying to get them visible. So set up a workstation at home. We want the Chromebook charged, and so take care of the Chromebook, that at night it's on a good charger, that it's ready for that day. And the students really need to check their emails. There's a lot of communication, and it's going through a technology, so they need to check emails. Our teacher's going to use a Remind app. They're going to use Google Classroom, and then the email accounts. So that's on the student side, really raising that expectation. For the parents, we're really asking for a lot of the support, help with engagement, help with the charging of the Chromebook. But what we're also finding is that if the student sets up a nice workstation at home, whether it be in the kitchen table, somewhere in the house, if it's a bedroom, then some sort of accountability, especially with the middle school students. High school students a little bit different, but the middle school students lean a little bit more accountability. So if the parents can kind of help out setting up a nice workstation, that I'm doing my work here, that I'm going to school in this particular area, it just feels different. Again, with the communication, parents are going to get a lot of communication through your email. So stay tuned with that. Make sure your email is up to date. And the schedule. We're asking, there's going to be a schedule. Mr. Stracula is going to be talking about the schedule. And so that schedule needs to be maintained and kind of honored. I know that certain appointments do come up, but we want the students to be checking into their classes at that time, whether it be the synchronous and asynchronous. So really kind of manage other opportunities outside. We know things come up, but really want to honor that schedule as it kind of rolls out. And then last one would be access to internet. We know that that's going to be a key player. The student's not going to be able to do well unless the internet is up to speed. So if there are some issues, please contact us. Contact me at the middle school, Mr. Stracula at the high school, and so be able to go forward with access at home. If there's other issues, please contact us, and we'll be able to work through some of those things. So that's what I see kind of as some major items for student and parent expectations.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Williams, for your very thorough response and a good segue. You had mentioned about school schedules, and so I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Stracula to talk about what the secondary school day schedule might look like.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kim. Excellent question, and I'll work on getting you a UCLA pennant for your office there too, just so that way we got it all balanced out here in this district. But back to schedules. First and foremost, for the middle and high school, learning is going to happen Monday through Friday. And the way we've set the schedule here on that particular Monday, they're going to be 25-minute blocks. It's going to look different amongst teachers depending on what subject that you're doing. Be various things. It could be announcements for the week, going over Google Classroom assignments. Could be a test, a quiz, a social emotional check-in. But that particular Monday morning for that 25-minute block, our students will be done at 11 a.m. They're going to go for lunch. So they will meet with all their 6 periods, 6 teachers that day from Monday. And then Tuesday through Friday, you're going to have 1, 2, 3 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then 4, 5, 6 on Wednesday and Friday, and those are going to be for 80-minute blocks. Keep in mind that all of our parents and community here, we are going to give a detailed version of the schedule in writing, so you want to memorize anything that I'm talking about here. But those 80-minute blocks, as Dr. Kim and Mr. Williams had referenced here is we definitely want engagement. We want our students engaged. There'll definitely be, again, it's going to look different between different subject matters in classrooms. Zoom, you're going to get information on Zoom and how you log on to a Zoom. Student expectations will vary depending on, teachers in the classrooms. We have extracurricular activities and different electives and arts and ceramics. So I'm actually really excited. Our teachers district-wide have been putting tons of work here, getting prepared for this school year. It's going to be different, but it's going to be exciting. We're going to learn. And our kids are going to learn. We saw over the summer that through summer school that tons of learning had taken place through online education and through Google Classroom and the Zoom platform. So in the afternoon time, Tuesday through Friday as well, there's going to be time from 1:05 to 2:20 for office hours. We're strongly encouraging parents to communicate with our teachers, students communicate with our teachers, get extra help on tutoring sessions, what have you.
Thank you, Mr. Stracula. And Ms. Rygosa, can you share with us a little bit about the alternative high school and perhaps the schedule there?
Yes. For Oak Knoll Alternative, it's going to be kind of all systems go. Those families will work closely with their teachers because it'll be a similar format that they've always used since it's mostly an online school. For Arrow and Bridges, we have a very similar schedule to Royal Oak and the high school, except our day starts a little bit later. Our students will be starting instruction at 9 to 9:30 in the morning and go till 2 in the afternoon. Our blocks are a little bit different. Mondays will be very similar in that there'll be a check-in with each teacher on Mondays, and Fridays will be an intervention class and another check-in with teachers. The bulk of the instruction will be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You will meet in all 4 of your core classes for 45 minutes each session. And then you will alternate with PE and your elective for 30-minute periods. We'll be sure to be sending out that schedule ahead of time so all students will know exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Rygosa. And we all know at our secondary school sites, we have incredible support staffs that are there to assist our kids with a variety of different needs, from guidance counseling to social emotional support. So thinking about the role of our, let's just say, counselors or other support staff, will they be accessible, and will our students be able to make contact with them? Ms. Rygosa, would you share some thoughts around that?
Yes, absolutely. Our counselors are remaining full-time employees, and they are all dedicated at all 3 sites, Charter Oak High School, Royal Oak, and also Sunflower. They're already up and working now. So they're dedicated to meeting all the needs of students. They will be available during school hours via phone. Counselors are willing to Zoom. You can always email them, and all the counselors will be reaching out to their families to let them know that they are there for them. And for the social emotional piece, that's very, very important to us, and we want to continue that in addition to academic counseling. And so students would reach out to their counselors, and they would connect them with an intern or whatever is available for them to meet their needs. So the main message is the counselors are here for all of our students and want them to be successful, and will be a major support piece for them. So we're encouraging parents, families, and students to reach out as needed.
Great. Mr. Stracula, anything else you wanted to add with that with regards to support staff?
No, just to kind of reinforce what Mr. Gossa said here, and I think she said it best, the social emotional piece too is there involved with our students. It's COVID. This is tough on everybody, teachers, staff, and particularly our students here. So we all want to make sure that our students know that help is available for them. We do have interns available, and if that's something that we need to continue to explore for our staff and our kids, absolutely. So yeah, Mrs. Ragosa, I appreciate you saying all that stuff there, that the social emotional piece is also a very important component on top of the academic piece as well.
Great.
Yep.
Well, the last question I have for our team here today, we have so many things that happen in the life of our secondary schools, goes beyond the day that happens with student learning. So I think about extracurricular activities. What might extracurricular activities look like at the middle school? And then we'll switch over to the high school. So Mr. Williams, what might extracurricular activities look like at your site?
Sure, we're trying to put together all kinds of different things for just kind of bringing things back positive. We're looking at some fun Fridays, some activities there. We're also talking about possibly starting up some virtual clubs. So we did push off the football and the cross country, and we're kind of waiting for that to be kind of brought back, hopefully this year. And so we'll be able, kind of the sporting events will have to be pushed up, but we'd like to really put some things together for the students because they love to connect. Even last year we had a student actually start up the Pokemon Club. That was phenomenal. Kids, I mean, we probably have 50, 60 kids show up on that. So I could see that kind of going virtual, and they have certain times. So looking to do some fun things, some positive things to really draw the culture and the community of Royal Oak together.
Great. Please sign me up for the Pokemon Club, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, fun.
Mr. Strikula, what about extracurriculars or perhaps even athletics on your campus?
Sure. Yeah. And as we all know, culture is a huge piece of secondary education or just education in general here. So that is definitely something we want to continue, even though it is virtual. CIF has come out with a schedule that we can start as early as December, all health requirements permitted there. And our athletic department is going to be sending out a letter with a very detailed, here's kind of what we're doing moving on. But just in general, whether it's drama and choir, sports, leadership, ASB, we definitely fully intend on having clubs. Our coaches still will be meeting with our students via Zoom. We'll be having, our drama teacher continue to meet with our students and give, assignments. We have full and every intention of performing, with our VAPA program in the spring with plays and choirs and drama and those different productions there. And again, ASB throughout each week is going to be doing videos and updating our students to try to keep that school spirit going, even though that we are home. Multiple different things that we're going to be doing. So yes, from an extracurricular standpoint, we are not at all going to be stopping doing that. Just the opposite. We're going to ramp it up.
Well, that's it with our time with our secondary principals here at Charter Oak Unified School District. We're going to go ahead and sign off with them. And again, we appreciate their time and sharing some things to anticipate for with regards to virtual learning. Thank you, guys.
I think Dr. Kim, what we'll do is as we wrap this up, I want to first of all thank Dr. Kim for moderating this, and I want to thank all of our principals for taking the time to share some very thoughtful and strategic answers with us. We know that we may not have addressed all of our questions that our families will have at this time, so we can assure you that we'll continue emailing, putting things on our website, and really want to emphasize that each of the school sites will continue communicating with their families as they pertain to that particular school. We know that this is different, and I know people have referenced that this whole time. We're going to have the opportunity to do something that's never been done before, and that is to teach an entire school district in a K-12 setting. It is different. There's going to be a lot of anxiety. We're going to address that to support our students. But I think here's a great opportunity for us just to do something incredible. And I think we've got the right people at the right places district-wide to make that happen. So to a great 2021 school year, we wish everyone the very, very best, and we hope that everyone has an outstanding year. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day.